Hello, my name is Aaron Cabral, and this is my government final. This is going to be the 10-minute long speech. Let's go. So, requirements for the president. The president has to be 35 years of age, at least, have been born in the United States, have been a United States born citizen, but that doesn't mean he has to be born in the United States. For example, if you are military personnel and you had a baby in another country like Japan, that baby would still be an American citizen. Although you had to have at least lived in the United States for the last 14 years. If you do decide to be the president, there are a couple benefits. For example, the salary is $400,000, and you have $50,000 for expenses, $100,000 for travel, and you have the White House, which has 132 rooms and an office, the Camp David Resort, a free medical and dental care, which is the best of the best, and Secret Service protection for life, a pension, and transportation. Although Miss Gable always says it is better to be the vice president because they have much less stress. For presidents, they have a lot more stress, and after presidency, they look a lot older than they actually are in age. So here are a few examples.
Okay, Eric, how old are you?
15.
When were you born? Where were you born?
I was born 15 years ago in Texas.
Okay, that means you will be eligible for president in 20 years.
So this man, Eric, was born in Texas as a US citizen. He is currently 15 years old, but although in 20 years he will be able to run for presidency if he wants to. On to this next man named Reed.
Reed, were you born in America?
Yes, I was.
Are you above 35 years old?
Yes, I am.
Then you can run for president.
Yeah.
Reed for president. 20 whatever.
So this man named Reed, he was born in America, same as Eric over here, and although he is 35 years old, so therefore he can run for president. And I hope he does. On to the next slide. So here are two other examples.
Name.
Edgar,
How old are you?
35.
Are you a citizen?
Yes, sir. I am graded, but I became a citizen.
Okay, that means you cannot become president because you became a citizen and were not born here.
So this man named Edgar is a United States citizen, although he had to convert to one, meaning he was not born a United States citizen. And as I stated earlier, to run for presidency, you have to have been born a United States citizen. Although he is 35 years old, which makes him marked for one of the sections that he needs. On to the next one.
America?
No,
How old are you?
12.
That means you can't run for president.
So Brenda over here is below 35 years old and is not a US citizen, which marks her up for both of those sections that she needs. Okay, on to the next one. Who elects the president? Well, the 538 members of the Electoral College actually elect the president. It is not us, the people, but it is for who we vote for in the Electoral College. So usually they have similar reflections with the popular vote, although there are instances where the popular vote and the Electoral College do not reflect each other. Some of these instances were when John Quincy Adams was elected, Rutherford Hayes was elected, Benjamin Harrison, George W. Bush, which was in this decade in 2000, sorry. But that was marked a very big spark for people. And Donald Trump, which was the last president to be elected and is very controversial. So we do not elect our president directly for a couple of reasons. In the Constitution, it said that the Electoral College would do this, and they wrote this because back then they did not trust the people with this amount of power. On to the next slide. So here are three different powers the president has. He has the power to sign or veto a legislation, command the armed forces, which means he has the power to send nukes to other countries and bomb them. Grant reprised and pardons. That means um, he can make someone go free again from prison, and receive ambassadors from other countries that want to make treaties or like laws and negotiate. Other powers he has is he wields the executive power and appoints officials to lesser offices. Some powers he has that are shared with the Senate is to make treaties and appoint ambassador, judges, and high officials. Some powers that he shares with the Congress as a whole is to approve legislation. Okay, on to the next one. So in this video, I will show Job, and he is an ambassador from India. So the president can make treaties with other countries without anyone else's approval, although this will only last when he's in office. For example, if President Trump makes a treaty with Japan that there's no tariffs, that will only last until the end of his presidency. Although if he does get Senate's approval, it lasts for a longer time. So here's the example.
My name is Job Abraham, and I am an ambassador from India. I'm here to make a treaty about trade.
So as Job has stated, he is an ambassador from India, and he is here to make a treaty for trade. So the president has the power to either approve this and make it so that they don't have any tariffs or whatever India wants, or the power to neglect this. On to the next one. So the president does a State of the Union speech whenever he gets elected. So the basis for the State of the Union speech is that the president shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the State of the Union. This shows the president's stance of certain topics and how he feels about them, clarifying how he feels, pretty much. So some two specific powers that the president has. So the president has the power to veto a bill or the power to pardon someone. An example of when a president pardons someone is when Ford pardoned Nixon. And Ford said that's what's one of his greatest mistakes. So to the next slide. So here are the examples.
Hello, I'm President Nixon, and I want to be pardoned by the next president.
As I stated before, Ford actually pardoned President Nixon and that let go President Nixon to be free man. So this is another example of the bill.
I'm an abortion bill. I don't want abortion.
So in this one, Stephen is acting like an abortion bill, and that was passed through Senate and the House and approved. So the president has the power to veto this, and therefore making it so that it has to go through the Senate and the House again, but this time requiring a 2/3 vote. If he can also make an executive order which makes it so that it's a mandatory thing for a while. For example, whenever he did the executive order that banned travel from some Middle Eastern countries. And this sparked a lot of controversy of using his power and made a lot of people mad at the time. On to this next slide. So on this slide, I will be answering the following questions. Why did the framers of the Constitution only give the president limited formal powers, and what were they worried about? So the framers of the Constitution gave the president limited formal powers, such as dealing with issues that are important, but at the same time, not enough power to dominate over the government. Some issues they would be able to deal with are so like with other countries and things like of that nature. They were worried that the president would become an everlasting ruler, such as a tyrant, such as the King of Britain, which was the reason. The reason they had the revolution was to get away from Britain in the first place, because they did not like that they had a king, and if they made it so they got another king, this would neglect all their purpose. Thank you for today, and This was my government final, and have a good rest of your day.